Colts have fever players out. Sophie was not there, but they give everyone jerseys. And Caitlin Clark, grew up in Iowa, is a Chiefs fan, refused to wear the Colts jersey. She just held it up like this. And she hasn't gone out and said, like, I didn't do it because I'm a Chiefs fan, but the internet was like, she's a real one.
I love it.
And it's just...
All right, so Sophie Cunningham just made news with an interview that has every single person talking. She went all out, criticizing leadership, challenging the league, and even hurling some harsh criticism at Caitlin Clark. She didn't sugarcoat anything at all. It was honest, unreserved, and directly from her heart. There's no doubting it, regardless of whether you believe she's expressing the truth or only trying to stir things up. Sophie's remarks were powerful. This wasn't your typical well-crafted public relations quip. It was unadulterated gold that profoundly disrupted the WNBA discourse overnight.
Hell no. I haven't watched a lick of the WNBA. I don't know what's going on. I talked to my teammates like the day that we did exit interviews and all of that. And I need a cleanse. Like, I'm booking vacations. Wes, we need to go on a vacation and do a podcast.
Let's be clear now. Biting her tongue has never been Sophie Cunningham's style. She will criticize the WNBA head office, make fun of her own club, and simply say a few direct remarks without even blinking. Really, Sophie has always voiced her opinions. It is essentially her brand. She didn't just say anything this time, though. She completely unloaded. There was absolutely no fluff or filters. Just unrelenting fire directed at everyone and everything.
In Rome, like, I can be like, I'm here, they brought, like, I'll put this shit on. Her not doing that is so incredible. I hope she knows how awesome that was.
You sent it yesterday, and I was like I'm not surprised by it. I'm not, because you know what? Everyone's always trying to get her to wear something or do something, and her to be
The atmosphere was quite relaxed. On the Show Me Something podcast, Sophie Cunningham was back in her hometown of Missouri, just enjoying a cup of coffee. She seemed to be completely unconcerned. Without a script or a public relations team interfering, Sophie was just being who she truly is. With Caitlin Clark front and center, she somehow managed to touch on practically every hot-button WNBA topic there is, from talking about the weather to laughing about horses to even hinting at a little baby fever. I assume you witnessed the moment she brought it up. As a nice PR move, the Indianapolis Colts invited the Indiana Fever to a game and gave out personalized jerseys. What a great idea. Well, not in Sophie's opinion, as it seems Caitlin Clark wasn't particularly excited to comply. And that was exactly the spark she needed to really sound out, in typical Sophie way. This is what transpired. Caitlin is a devoted Chiefs fan who was born and raised in Iowa. She simply held up the Colts jersey when they gave it to her. She didn't wear it. That's all. This calm, yeah, thanks, but I'm good moment without a false smile or enthusiasm.
Fever players out. Sophie was not there, but they give everyone jerseys. And Caitlin Clark, grew up in Iowa, is a Chiefs fan, refused to wear the Colts jersey. She just held it up like this. And she hasn't gone out and said, I didn't do it because I'm a Chiefs fan, but the internet was like, she's a real one.
I love it.
And it's just it's so good. So good.
And here's the thing. The internet went crazy. Naturally, Caitlin's admirers were referring to her as a real one and saying things like, she's staying loyal. Additionally, memes were spreading like confetti across social media. Sophie rushed in at that point, and her response was just what you would have expected. She stated bluntly, "That was fantastic. I hope Caitlin understands how awesome that was." She simply laughed after that and continued, "I'm not even shocked by it." Classic Sophie. Remember, Sophie wasn't even present at the game. She claimed that although she had completely left before the event, she was unable to resist building Caitlin up after watching the footage online. Sophie described Caitlin's decision to not wear the Colts shirt as real and incredible. To be honest, she's correct. Although it might not seem like much, that kind of genuineness makes a big difference in a league where everyone is supposed to act politely and follow the PR script. Sophie even declared that her favorite event of the week was Caitlin's moment. She even made a joke about how Caitlin could have simply put on the jersey and grinned for the cameras, but it was even better that she refused to give in. And, to be honest, That scene explains a lot of why supporters adore them both. Sophie Cunningham is unabashedly loud, while Caitlin Clark is unabashedly herself. Fans can't get enough of this uncommon respect when an outspoken athlete acknowledges another. However, that was only the start, as Sophie really didn't stop there. She also talked candidly about her own recent scandals, including the one in which she cursed at WNBA executives and was fined as a result. Do you recall her tirade against the lack of basketball knowledge among league executives? Yes, that particular one. Well, Sophie stepped up her game in this interview. "Yeah, I said it, and no, I'm not taking it back," was essentially what she stated. She gave a flawless explanation. She informed the host that she would not retract her statement. "However, my delivery might have been improved. I might have been a little harsh, but it's also just me," she continued after laughing. Classic Sophie, part mic drop, half apology. She even acknowledged that she is attempting to pay more attention to her speech since whenever she uses a profanity, people assume she is ignorant. She said those precise words. "People often assume that I'm illiterate when I swear, but I'm not. I simply swear." Fair point, to be honest. That's essentially Sophie. Ferocious, passionate, and unadulterated. Her brand is that. The host then inquired as to whether she felt bad about her remarks towards Kathy Angelbert or the league office. Sophie remained still. "No, I meant every single thing," she said. "Maybe I shouldn't have cussed, but I meant it." Fans truly want that kind of direct honesty. No PR script, no skirting the issue, simply the reality. Simply stating what everyone else is already thinking without hiding behind media training. The nicest thing is that Sophie talked about more than just hers. Without even recognizing it, she ended up supporting Caitlin Clark once more. She didn't mince words. When asked if she had been watching the WNBA finals, "I'm on a break," she remarked, adding that she hasn't seen any WNBA games. "Good luck to whoever wins," she continued. "To be honest, I could care less who wins." Now, she actually made a fairly good argument before anyone accuses her of it. Sophie claimed that she simply needed to unplug after a demanding season that was full of accidents, mayhem, and constant drama. To be honest, many athletes experience that, but they hardly ever acknowledge it in public. She says that when you're in it, competing daily, enduring disappointments, and under continual pressure, there are moments when you just need to take a break. It stings to see other teams play immediately following the conclusion of your season. Burnout, not humiliation, was the reason behind her statement that she was on a WNBA cleanse. And really, who can blame her after the season she just had? Sophie claimed to have been taking things easy, unwinding, spending time with her loved ones, and at last savoring a small portion of a typical life. She still uses her signature snark, though. "I'm making travel arrangements. I'm done with it. Drama aside, I'm done." She chuckled before continuing. "Instead, let's discuss fashion." Only Sophie could seem to effortlessly transition from raving about league finds to talking about peacoats and Christmas vacations in the same sentence. However, it truly indicated something deeper, so let's take a moment to go back to that Caitlin Clark jersey moment. Sophie found it to be strong in addition to being humorous. It demonstrated that Caitlin is self-assured and unconcerned with winning over everyone. Sophie completely respects that type of self-assurance because it's exactly how she functions as well. In a league where players are expected to be appreciative, well-mannered, and cautious with every word, that kind of moment is uncommon. Sophie went so far as to say that she hopes Caitlin understands how legendary that little gesture was. She's not incorrect, to be honest. One of the most shared WNBA posts of the week was the video of Caitlin clutching the jersey. It was assurance without uttering a word. Since Caitlin Clark could have simply smiled for the cameras, put on the shirt, and played along, Sophie called it fantastic, and fans wholeheartedly agreed. However, she didn't. She firmly but courteously maintained her position. And it was adored by fans. Sophie and her are shamelessly authentic, which is precisely why they click. They don't pretend to be someone else, the league, or social media. Then, halfway through the interview, Sophie changed the subject. She began discussing the repercussions of being vocal in the WNBA and Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you have watched